Ladies and gentlemen, every great life begins twice, once in the imagination and once in reality. Before Arnold Schwarzenegger ever lifted a single weight, before he ever stepped onto a movie set or into an office of power, he saw it all, clearly, vividly, relentlessly. When the world saw an ordinary boy from Austria, he saw a champion, a legend, a force of nature. And that's the difference between the average and the extraordinary, the power to see what doesn't yet exist, and the courage to make it real. Vision gives birth to purpose, and purpose gives birth to power. When a man or woman knows where they are going, life itself begins to cooperate. The people, the opportunities, the ideas, all begin to move into alignment with that inner picture. This isn't magic, it's a natural law. The world responds to clarity, and the clearer you become about what you want, the more visible the path becomes. Most people wait to see the path before they commit, but the secret is that the path only appears after commitment. Vision demands faith first, then it rewards you with proof. Arnold understood this principle long before success came. When he stepped into the gym as a young man, he wasn't just lifting weights, he was lifting his future. Each repetition was a vote for the man he was becoming. Each day he trained, he reinforced the image he held within. People around him saw effort, he saw destiny. That is the great difference between those who achieve and those who only wish. One group works for approval, the other works for fulfillment. The first is motivated by applause, the second by vision. It's easy to see the results of vision when it's already achieved. The trophies, the fame, the recognition. But when vision is still invisible, when it exists only in the mind, that is when it demands courage, because you will be misunderstood. You will be told to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to settle for less. The world often discourages vision because vision threatens the status quo. It reminds others of what they have not dared to dream. But the one who holds fast to their vision, despite the noise, is already walking the road to greatness. Arnold's story reminds us that vision isn't about predicting the future, it's about creating it. When he couldn't find the roles he wanted in Hollywood, he didn't complain, he created them. He saw what could be, not what was. He transformed what others considered obstacles into stepping stones. His accent, his physique, his larger than life presence, all the things that made him an outsider became his signature. That is what vision does. It transforms disadvantages into distinctions. It takes what others call weakness and turns it into power. If you could see the world through the eyes of vision, you'd realize that everything you need to begin is already within your reach. The resources, the time, the ideas, they're all waiting for direction. But most people never give that direction because they've never truly defined what they want. They live by default instead of by design. They allow circumstances to shape their future instead of using vision to shape circumstances. A vision must be specific. It must have form, texture, and emotion. To say, "I want success," is too vague. Success to one person might mean freedom, to another fame, to another peace. Define it, picture it, make it real in your imagination. When Arnold saw himself as Mr. Olympia, he didn't just imagine the trophy. He imagined the feeling of standing on stage, the lights on his face, the roar of the audience, the pride in achieving what others said was impossible. He made that picture so real that when it happened, it felt like déjà vu. That's what true vision does. It rehearses your future until it becomes your present. The greatest limitation on human achievement is not lack of ability, it is lack of vision. The mind is capable of extraordinary things when given a definite direction. Every innovation, every work of art, every empire began as an idea in someone's mind, but ideas alone are not enough. They must be held, nurtured, and acted upon with conviction. Vision is the blueprint of reality waiting for construction. Without it, even the strongest efforts scatter. With it, even the smallest steps accumulate. Think of a magnifying glass. When light passes through it unfocused, it warms the surface but leaves no mark. But when the light is concentrated, it ignites. Vision is that concentration of the mind. It channels your energy, your will, and your belief into one powerful beam that burns through doubt and resistance. The person with a clear vision becomes unstoppable because they know exactly what they are moving toward. Arnold often spoke about how he never had a plan B. He believed that having a backup plan only diluted your focus. His vision was so strong that failure wasn't a consideration. It was merely a step in the process. That mindset gave him relentless energy. When others might have stopped, he kept going because in his mind he was already the champion, already the actor, already the leader. Vision collapses time. It allows you to live in your desired future long before it arrives. There is a law of life that states, you attract not what you want, but what you are. And what you are is shaped by what you see. If you see limitation, you live within it. If you see abundance, you act upon it. Vision is the lens through which you experience life, and you have the power to adjust that lens at any moment. The clearer and more positive your mental image, the more your outer world reflects it. Arnold's vision took him across continents, across industries, across expectations. But his story is not unique in potential. It's a reminder of what's possible when vision takes control. Each of us has the same power. The only question is, do we dare to use it? Do we dare to see beyond the horizon of our current reality? Most never do. They accept what is and call it fate. But the ones who dare to see what could be are the ones who shape history. Vision must be fed daily. It requires repetition, reinforcement, and renewal. The world is filled with distractions designed to pull you away from your purpose. Fear, doubt, comparison, and comfort. You must guard your vision like a flame in the wind. Keep it alive through thought, through words, through action. Each day remind yourself of where you're going and why it matters, because the moment you stop feeding your vision, it begins to fade. Arnold didn't rely on motivation, he relied on clarity. Motivation can fade, but vision endures. When you see your future so vividly that it feels real, you no longer need to be pushed. You are pulled. That's the difference between forcing yourself to act and being compelled by purpose. Vision pulls you forward naturally, almost effortlessly, because it's aligned with your deepest desires. Every person who has ever achieved greatness began with this same process. They saw something in their mind long before others could see it in the world. Edison saw light in the darkness. The Wright brothers saw flight in the sky. A young Austrian boy saw a champion, an actor, a leader. They all began with the same tool imagination directed by faith. There's a force within you that is waiting to be awakened. It responds to clarity, belief, and persistence. When you define a vision so strong that it stirs your emotions, it activates that inner power. Your thoughts become charged, your energy increases, your decisions sharpen. You begin to attract what you need, not by chance, but by design. Vision creates alignment. Your mind, your actions, your environment begin to move in harmony toward the same destination. Life will test your vision. It will challenge it with delays, setbacks, and disappointments, but those are not signs to quit. They are confirmations that your vision is real. Anything worth having requires endurance. The resistance you face is not punishment, it is preparation. Each obstacle strengthens the character needed to sustain the vision once it becomes reality. Arnold faced countless rejections, but each one refined his resolve. Each no sharpened his focus. Vision doesn't crumble under pressure, it becomes clearer. Every day, remind yourself that vision is not about where you are. It's about where you're going. Your current situation is temporary. Your vision is eternal. What you hold in your mind with faith and emotion will one day be what you hold in your hands. The timeline doesn't matter, the method doesn't matter. What matters is that you never stop seeing it, never stop believing in it. The most successful people in any field share this single trait. They live more in their future than in their past. They think in terms of possibility, not limitation. They understand that the mind is the workshop of destiny. Whatever image you hold with persistence will shape your world. If you can see it and believe it, you can build it. Arnold's journey is living proof of that truth. From a village in Austria to the pinnacle of global recognition, he carried the same vision the entire way. The circumstances changed, the environments changed, the challenges changed, but the picture never did. That's the secret. Once your vision becomes part of you, it doesn't matter where you are. It will express itself through you. The world must eventually yield to the clarity of a determined mind, so hold your vision close. Guard it, feed it, let it grow. Let it become the silent companion that guides your steps, the inner movie that plays when the world doubts you. Because in the end, vision is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become through the process of believing. And once you see clearly, nothing remains impossible. When a person learns to live by vision, they rise above circumstance. They no longer see the world as it is, but as it could be. They stop asking, what is possible, and begin declaring, this is what will be. That certainty is not arrogance, it's alignment. It's the understanding that everything great ever accomplished began first as belief. The world you see today, the skyscrapers, the cities, the art, the inventions, all were once invisible. Someone saw them when no one else could. Someone dared to believe their imagination more than the evidence around them. And that is what separates those who shape history from those who simply read about it. Arnold lived that principle with every fiber of his being. When people laughed at his dreams, when they told him that no Austrian bodybuilder could ever succeed in America, he smiled, not because he was oblivious, but because he had already seen a different reality. He knew that laughter and doubt were part of the journey. The stronger your vision, the louder the opposition. But he also knew that resistance is a sign of life. It means you are moving, growing, and reaching into new territory. The only people who face no resistance are those who never take a step beyond their comfort zone. The beauty of vision is that it doesn't just change what you achieve, it changes who you are. When you hold an image of greatness in your mind long enough, you begin to act, think, and speak like that future self. You start to carry yourself with quiet confidence, not because of what you've done, but because of what you know you're becoming. Vision transforms you from the inside out. It rewires your habits, your focus, your discipline. It makes you unwilling to settle for mediocrity because your mind is already living in excellence. The moment you commit to a vision, the world begins to test that commitment. It's as if life asks, how much do you want this? And then gives you challenges to find out. But each obstacle has a purpose. It reveals whether your vision is a wish or a decision. A wish fades at the first sign of difficulty, but a decision endures. Arnold's vision wasn't a wish, it was a declaration. When one door closed, he built another. When one opportunity vanished, he created one. Because once you decide that the image in your mind must become reality, there's no force strong enough to stop you. Think of how he approached bodybuilding. Every rep was a vote of faith. Every drop of sweat was an investment in that image. He didn't just train his muscles, he trained his belief. The body was merely the proof of what the mind already accepted as true. That's the deeper lesson of vision. Results are always the echo of what's been established in the mind first. You cannot outperform your self-image. but you can transform it by changing what you consistently see and believe. A vision becomes powerful only when it is clear. Most people live with blurry visions. They sort of know what they want, but not in detail. They think in generalities. They say, I want success, or I want happiness, but they never define what that looks like. Clarity gives direction, and direction gives power. If Arnold had said, I want to be fit, he would have never become Mr. Olympia, but he saw the exact image, the pose, the symmetry, the perfection. He knew what he wanted, and because of that, his mind and body worked together toward it. Clarity turns effort into effectiveness. Without it, you can spend years running fast but going nowhere. But once your mind has a definite picture, it begins to align every part of your being toward its realization. You begin to notice opportunities others overlook, to meet people who share your path, to find strength in places where you once felt weak. Vision organizes chaos. It gives shape to life's uncertainty and turns it into purpose. Arnold's life also teaches another truth. Vision is not confined to one area. It expands. Once he achieved mastery in bodybuilding, his vision evolved. He saw himself not only as an athlete, but as an entertainer, then as a businessman, then as a public servant. That's the beauty of true vision. It's alive. It grows as you grow. What you once thought was the destination becomes the foundation for the next stage. Vision is infinite in its reach because the human spirit is infinite in its potential. But vision alone is not enough. It must be paired with discipline. The greatest visions in the world remain fantasies without daily effort. The dream must be translated into routine. Arnold understood that. He never relied on motivation to carry him. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is permanent. He created habits that brought his vision into form. When he didn't feel like training, he trained anyway. When progress was slow, he trusted the process, because he knew that the future belongs not to those who start with enthusiasm, but to those who continue with consistency. The world often looks at great achievers and calls them lucky, but luck is simply the meeting point of preparation and opportunity. Vision prepares you, discipline attracts the opportunity. When both meet, the world calls it success. Arnold didn't wait for luck, he prepared for it. He used his vision to see opportunities long before they appeared, and his work ethic ensured he was ready when they did. Every vision will have its season of invisibility. That's the time when you're working, believing, creating, and nothing seems to happen. Most people quit there, but that's the critical phase. That's when the roots are growing beneath the surface. Just because you can't see the results doesn't mean they're not forming. Vision requires patience. It requires trust that every small act, every unseen hour, every sacrifice is building something far greater than you can yet perceive. Arnold's belief never wavered because he had trained his mind to see beyond appearances. When he was working in construction to pay his bills, he wasn't focused on the labor. He was focused on the life he was building. He didn't see walls of concrete. He saw a stage, a camera, a future. That mental discipline kept his spirit strong even when progress seemed slow. That's what vision does. It lifts you above the immediate moment and reminds you that you're on a journey, not trapped in a circumstance. To live by vision is to live by choice, not by chance. It's to wake up each day with intention, to decide in advance how you will act, think, and respond. It's to become the architect of your own destiny rather than a tenant in someone else's design. Vision frees you from the limitations of the past because it redefines what's possible in the future. The truth is, everyone has vision potential. The only question is whether it's being used. Most people use their imagination to replay fears and failures. Few use it to construct their future. The same mental power that creates worry can create faith. The same ability that builds doubt can build dreams. The tool is the same. The direction is what matters. Arnold used his imagination as a builder. Every thought was a brick. Every belief was mortar. Over time, those invisible constructions became visible success. Vision demands courage, not just to dream, but to persist, because when your vision grows, so will your challenges. Each new level requires a new strength, but that's the reward. It forces you to evolve. Arnold's greatest victories were not the titles or the roles. They were the transformations he underwent in pursuit of them. Vision is the catalyst of growth. It stretches you beyond who you were and into who you're meant to be. And when you begin to live with vision, you start to inspire others. People are drawn to those who see clearly. They sense the certainty, the conviction, the inner fire. Arnold didn't just achieve his dreams, he awakened them in others. His story became a mirror in which millions saw their own potential reflected. That's the ultimate power of vision. It multiplies. When you live it fully, it ignites the imagination of others. Every person listening has within them the same force, the same power, the same creative capacity. Vision is not reserved for the chosen few. It's available to anyone who dares to see beyond what is. The only limitation is the one you accept. The moment you decide to see differently, everything begins to change. Because when the picture in your mind becomes stronger than the picture in your reality has no choice but to catch up. The life you desire is already waiting to be seen. It exists first as a possibility, then as a belief, then as a result. The bridge between those stages is vision. Clear, focused, unwavering vision. The world around you will always mirror the world within you. The moment you create clarity inside, the outside begins to rearrange itself accordingly. Arnold's journey stands as a testament that the power to change your world begins in your mind. What he achieved was not accidental, it was intentional. He saw it, he believed it, he lived it. And that same process is available to anyone willing to use it. Vision is the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you start, only where you're willing to go. It doesn't ask for permission, it demands commitment. Once you give it that, it will carry you farther than you ever dreamed possible. Vision is the seed from which all transformation grows, and yet it is also the mirror that reflects who we truly are beneath the noise of daily life. The world teaches us to look outward, to chase approval, recognition, and validation, but vision turns our gaze inward. It asks us to see with the mind, not just the eyes. It calls us to imagine not what we have, but what we could become. The moment we answer that call, we begin to separate ourselves from the ordinary flow of existence. We stop being wanderers and start becoming creators. Arnold's life reminds us that every vision worth having will demand a price. The price is comfort. The price is complacency. The price is the easy road. He left behind his country, his language, his security, and even the understanding of those closest to him, all because he saw something greater. That is the first act of faith in every visionary life, to leave behind what is known in pursuit of what is possible. The comfort of today must always be traded for the promise of tomorrow. But vision does more than show you where to go. It reveals who you must become to get there. When Arnold looked into his future, he saw not just success, but strength, discipline, charisma, and courage. Each of those traits did not exist in him fully at the start. They were forged through the pursuit. The path toward a vision is the training ground of character. Every challenge is a teacher. Every setback is a sculptor. Vision doesn't simply reward you with achievements. It transforms you into the kind of person capable of sustaining them. There's a quiet moment in every great pursuit when the noise fades, and the only thing left is you and your dream. That is the moment when vision is tested. No crowd, no applause, just work, just faith. Many lose heart there because they confuse silence with failure. But the truth is, silence is where the roots of greatness grow. Arnold faced those silent years when nobody knew his name, when he was just another immigrant chasing a dream that sounded impossible. But he understood something most never do. The future is built in obscurity. What you do when no one is watching determines who you will be when everyone is. Vision is not only about seeing the destination. It's about believing in the unseen progress that leads there. Every great vision demands endurance through seasons of invisibility. That's the time when life seems unmoved by your effort, when results are delayed, when the reward appears far away. But what feels like delay is often development. Life is preparing you to carry what you're asking for. The universe cannot give you something you are not yet ready to handle, so it gives you trials to build your capacity. The longer you hold your vision through those trials, the deeper your foundation grows. Arnold held his vision so tightly that it became part of his identity. He didn't say, "I want to be a champion." He said, "I am a champion." He didn't say, "I hope to be successful." He said, "I will be successful." That's the difference between a wish and a vision. A wish looks outward for permission. A vision declares itself as reality before the world confirms it. That declaration has power. The human mind cannot resist the pull of a deeply held conviction. When you speak it and live it with belief, the world begins to rearrange itself around that statement of intent. We often underestimate the power of self-concept. You cannot live beyond the image you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as average, your actions will unconsciously support that belief. But if you see yourself as exceptional, you begin to act accordingly. Arnold trained his body, yes, but before that, he trained his self-image. He saw himself as extraordinary, and so his behavior followed suit. This is the secret most overlook. Your outer world will never rise higher than your inner one. Change the picture inside, and the outside must follow. Vision teaches us that faith is not blind, it's visionary. It doesn't deny reality, it redefines it. When you operate by vision, you no longer measure life by appearances, you measure it by direction. You may not be there yet, but you are on the path. You may not see the results, but you feel the progress. Every step taken in alignment with vision brings unseen rewards. Your mind grows stronger, your focus sharper, your will more determined. Vision transforms time into an ally instead of an enemy, because every day becomes a contribution toward the picture you hold within. Arnold often spoke about focus as the key to success. He said that when you set your eyes on one thing and refuse to look away, the universe bends to your will. That's not mystical, it's practical. Focus is the force multiplier of vision. It's what channels energy into achievement. The problem for most people is not lack of desire but divided attention. They scatter their efforts across too many directions, never giving enough concentrated energy to one. But the one who holds a single vision with absolute clarity becomes unstoppable. When your mind, your emotions, and your actions align toward one purpose, reality yields. Vision is not limited by time. It doesn't expire. The moment you see it clearly and believe it deeply, it already exists in potential. Time is simply the process through which it becomes visible, but to those without vision, time becomes the enemy. They see only delay, only distance, only difficulty. That is why vision must be renewed daily. You must remind yourself that the picture you hold is not fantasy. It is the seed of your future, waiting for the right season to bloom. Arnold's journey from bodybuilding to acting and then into leadership shows that vision, once developed, can be applied anywhere. It is a transferable power. Once you learn to see the invisible and act upon it, you can succeed in any field. The principles don't change, only the arena does. That's the brilliance of living by vision. It frees you from limitation. You no longer define yourself by a single role or title. You define yourself by potential. And potential knows no boundaries. Every great vision begins as a lonely thought, but it never stays that way. When you commit to it fully, you begin to attract others who share that energy. Like a magnet, your conviction draws people, resources, and opportunities into orbit around it. Arnold didn't achieve greatness alone. He inspired others to see his vision and join him in it. Vision has that effect it spreads. When people encounter someone who truly believes, they feel the pull to believe too. Your clarity gives others courage. Your focus gives others faith. The world needs people of vision more than ever. In a time when distraction rules and fear dominates, the one who can see clearly becomes a beacon. Arnold became that for millions, not because of his fame, but because he demonstrated the timeless truth that no dream is too large when backed by belief and effort. His story is a reminder that greatness is not a matter of talent, it's a matter of vision held through persistence. To live with vision is to live with responsibility. Once you've seen a possibility, you can't unsee it. You owe it to yourself and to the world to pursue it, because your realization of that vision doesn't just serve you, it serves everyone who will be inspired by it. Arnold's accomplishments didn't end with his personal victories. They became symbols for others to follow. That's the ripple effect of vision. One person's clarity can ignite 1,000 others, but vision also requires humility. It reminds you that you are both the creator and the creation, the sculptor and the clay. It demands patience with the process. You cannot force growth, you can only nurture it. The oak tree doesn't rush to grow. It simply expands as it's meant to. Vision is the same. Once planted and nourished by faith and action, it will grow in its own time. Your role is to stay faithful, to keep watering it with persistence and protecting it from the weeds of doubt. Arnold's unwavering confidence wasn't arrogance, it was certainty born from alignment. When you know that your vision comes from a place of truth, you no longer need the world's permission. You stop seeking validation because your conviction becomes your approval. That kind of certainty radiates power. It's the quiet strength that says this will happen, even when nothing yet suggests it will. That's how empires are built. That's how legacies are created. Vision is the master key to personal freedom. It allows you to transcend circumstance, environment, and limitation. It gives you direction when others are lost, hope when others despair, and purpose when others drift. Once you learn to live by vision, you stop asking for guarantees and start trusting the process. You realize that the future belongs not to those who wait, but to those who see. The story of Arnold's life is proof that a single, clear vision held with conviction can rewrite destiny. It can move a person from obscurity to influence, from the impossible to the undeniable. But that power does not belong to him alone. It belongs to all who dare to see their lives through the eyes of faith, to dream in detail, and to persist until the invisible becomes visible. Vision is the quiet promise between who you are and who you can become, and that promise, once believed, cannot be broken.